Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, mic check. Mic is good. So we're back again. Yes, Kingdoms of Kings. Like to actually welcome everybody once again. Back at it. Everybody can see me good. Audio is good. Visual is good. Video is good. All right. So I'd like to start to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Mashiach Yahushai, which means all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, the Most High God, which means He exists. Ba'Hashem, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahushai, which means He is deliverer, is Savior, which is His real name. His name is not as we all been taught and lied to for years and years. If you go to church and whatnot, trying to push that doctrine on us. Jesus, first of all, the letter J didn't even exist. Back then, the letter J doesn't exist in Paleo-Hebrew in his language, and the letter J is only 400 years old, more or less. So when you look at the King James Version, you know, like the Most High did everything. Everything is perfect. You're always going to actually live everything we need in order to figure it out. And that's what's going on right now. They can't get out. They can't escape. You have to pay for what you did, just like we did pay for what we did. Just imagine, we're the favorite. We actually is people, and look how we've been punished. If you want to actually take heed and have an example of what the Most High is capable of, just look at us, man. What the nation of Israel has been through, which includes, like I said, once again, here at Kingdom of Kings, we believe that we are the children of God. If you actually fit the description in Deuteronomy, the curses of the people in that book, so that means your last name is changed like an oppressor, not an oppressor, well, actually an oppressor, of course, but the slave master's name. So in our case, like if you actually been colonized by the Spaniards, your last name will be a Spanish name. Gomez, Cortez, Hernandez, Fernandez, Jimenez, and whatnot. Those what we call the Latinos, and like Hispanic, which only means like property of Spain. So those people, they've been colonized by the Spaniard. So there's no difference from one to another. The same thing like the English ones, if you go in the West Indies, the Jamaican, and then black people in the United States of America, Jones, Johnson, Jackson, which is basically Britain, the English people. And the same thing for people in the islands like Île Maurice, Seychelles, Haiti, where I'm coming from. We have names like Dieudonné, Jean, Baptiste, Paul, and whatnot. Whatever it is that is French, you've been colonized by the French. So the British, which is the English, the French, which is like France and whatnot, and the Spaniard, which is like the three major major oppressors, major country that actually have a big role and a big part in actually enslaving us and making us go through everything, that the worst slavery in human history, basically. There's nobody that's been through so much than worse than what the people of Israel has been through. And that's also biblical. We're gonna start with the scripture for that. I'm gonna share my screen. Just tell me if you still can see me properly. And we're gonna go to right here. There you go. You guys can see me good. All right, it's perfect. There you go. That's what's up. Okay. So we're gonna go right here. We're gonna go to Daniel. That's the part 2, by the way, of the Deuteronomy 28, the last video. We just went through only like more or less 2 of them curses to actually, which is one of the way to figure out we are the children of the Most High. So nobody's been through what we've been through. You know, like some people, the SOS, the fake Jewish people that should go to jail basically by their own standard and the standard of the Most High as well. Speaking of that, let me just get that verse. By the standard of the Most High, here what will happen to these people? Well, basically that's one of the prophecies. Speaking of that, I have it right here. Behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, and nations that knew not, they shall run unto thee because of the Lord thy God. So those are all the people that came and actually got us into slavery. That's one of the prophecies. Speaking of that, Isaiah 55 and 5. But the one that I wanted first is Daniel, because that's what we do here. We go to the scriptures in order to get the answers. Not like the pastors and what the church been doing. They have a program. They go to certain scriptures and never explain you the whole thing. So you go to church your whole life, and you pretty much never read a whole page in the Bible. And you have a specific verses that you actually read again and again and again, which is like not even 1% of the Bible. So you like been through church for like 55 years, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, whatever, how long you've been going to church every Sunday, giving money out like there was no tomorrow, and you only know like 10 scriptures. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you go to Daniel, the book of Daniel, Daniel, where you at Daniel should be around here. The book of Daniel, right here, chapter 9. And it's verse 11. The book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 11. Yeah, all Israel have transgressed thy law. So because you have transgressed the most high law, that's the reason all this happened to us. So that was the prophecy of Daniel, right? So even by departing, so we departed from the law, basically. We just didn't pay it no mind. That they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he had confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. So once again, the Most High is the one that brought that evil upon us. So it's not the devil or whatever doctrine or whatever type of understanding that they're trying to push on us. Everything good is God and everything bad is the devil. This is a lie. Everything is of the Most High. That's why we call him the Almighty. God is Almighty. So some what you call that again? Looking for a specific word. Part of history, I would actually put it this way. Part of history, there's some nations that know him as El Shaddai, which means basically power like a demon. So most people like actually even have more power than the devil itself, of course, because he's the one who gave power to the devil. There's nobody that has more power than the Most High, good and bad, right? So, and he had confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us. And by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven had not been done as had been done upon Jerusalem. So nobody has it worse than us. Nobody got it like actually like we got it so far. The 500 years of slavery is just a piece of it, because the whole history, if you actually know the whole history of Israel, we've been from captivity to captivity, from slavery to slavery, hardship to hardship, because we actually a stiff-necked people. And if they tell you about like the Holocaust and actually feel the pain of all these other countries, well, I can only do nothing than have no compassion, no empathy for what you guys been through, because you never had any empathy for us. You never had no mercy for us, because you're the one that's been inflicting this pain to us. What should we have empathy for you guys? Because whatever happened to you, it's between you guys. That's like actually like a civil war, it's you against yourself. So that is none of our concern. We're not the one that actually afflicted that pain to all these other nations, but every single nation had us in slavery and actually took part of all the suffering that we've been going through from day one all the way to here. So if they actually tell you different, if they're trying to actually get you to feel some type of way for what they've been through, well, they never felt anything for us. So why should we? And at the end of the day, the Most High doesn't even care about them. So why should we? Right? You just have to make sense. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So that's basically like with Daniel, like I was saying before. So we've been through this because we didn't listen, and the Most High actually made good to his words. Speaking of making good on his word, you also have a precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. You also have the book of, where it is, should be right here. Oh yeah, this one doesn't have the Apocrypha. Which one has the Apocrypha? This one doesn't have it. That's true. So we're going to go to Google, Baruch 2, right? Okay, this one added. This one had Baruch. Baruch 2. So therefore the Lord had made good his word. So we just saw it before, so I just switched it. But in Daniel, he made good of his word, which he pronounced against us and against our judges. That's judge Israel. So precept upon precept, you see you have a second witness saying the exact same thing. So just to actually get views on how to actually read the Bible and whatnot, and against our kings and against our princes and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. So you see, that's the precept of Daniel 9:11. So you see, like you always have two witnesses. So that was the book of Baruch. So what happened to us, like has never happened to no other nation than the children of Israel. So if you do share this, like I mentioned before, your last name, what's in Deuteronomy 28 and whatnot, that will actually go in detail today. And if your last name has been changed for a curse, which is like Isaiah 65 and 15, your last name has been changed for the name of the slave master and whatnot. You also have, which one is the Deuteronomy? Which one is this one? That's Deuteronomy 5. You also have, we're going to use this one. You also have how to recognize that you are one of the children of Israel, because like I said before, we're just going to go at it right fast. All the curses will be Deuteronomy 28:45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So that's how we do recognize that we are the children of the Most High, with all those curses and whatnot. One way also recognize that we are the children of the Most High, if you go Ezra 2:59, the book of Ezra, chapter 2 and 59. You can go also in Numbers 1 and 18, but Ezra 2:59, here's how you know also that you're one of the children of the Most High. There's three ways to know it. The curses of Deuteronomy will be attached to us. And these were they which went up from Tel Melah, Telarsa, Cherub, Adon, and Himmer, but they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel. So in order to know if you're from Israel, your seed is from the house of the father. Like a total opposite than these SOS, what they actually go by, is that you actually a Jew by your mother. So if your mother is a Jew, then you're a Jew. That's non-biblical, like all their doctrine, their knowledge and whatnot, you don't find it in the Bible. So that's the reason we've been like actually chop and screw. We've been punk, like I was saying last time, because we actually been listening to men, right? But if you read the book, so that's the reason why I keep on telling you there's nothing wrong with the book. It's basically what they've been teaching us, and we've been repeating that's been wrong. Just give me 1 second, guys. It won't be too long. Give me 1 sec. My bad, guys. There you go. So, like I was saying, so just to drive the point home once again, so your father has to be from the tribe of Israel because it goes with the seed of the father. And even if you go in science and whatnot, like once actually the man is the one that has the seed, which is like in your sperm. So that only sperm, that's the reason there's only one sperm that actually can penetrate the egg. So when they actually go combine both of them together, that makes the baby. But what actually becomes the baby is that sperm, it's you like the sperm of your daddy. You're not the egg of your mom. What the mom does is basically taking care of that sperm, taking care of the baby, give him the food, the nutrients, and everything, and nutrients and everything that the baby needs to grow. So that's basically the oven, right? So that you get the cooking. Just like if I put a bun in the oven, the bun is mine, but the oven is what's basically warm you up, feed you for those 9 months, 9 months until actually until you're born, right? So the father, if you listen to those SOS, those fake Jews, they go by the mother, which is a total lie. It's non-biblical. Once again, doctrines of men, none to do with the God of Israel, the Most High God. So it's by the house of the father. And if you go in science as well, if one little drop of blood of the mom mixed itself in the fetus when the baby is actually in her belly, in her basically like the baby is like in the eggs, like the baby will die. So your blood that you have comes from your father. So that's just basic science. It's like basic knowledge. It's how it goes. And so you are what your father is. You are the seed of your father. So your father from Israel. So there's no like there's no like 50% this, 50% that, 25% this, 25% that. You're not like actually the land as well. Some people will tell you I'm Canadian and whatnot. When you say like you're Canadian or you're American, that's just a piece of land. How can you be a piece of land? That can't be where you're coming from. It's all about the seed, your genealogy, your pedigree, where you're coming from. That's how it works. And just to drive the point home, same thing you will also have in Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. Same thing all over the Bible, anyways. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees. Pedigrees is basically like your bloodline, your genealogy and whatnot. That's where you're coming from, like a dog pedigree. When you want to know what is the if a dog, like what type of dog it is, if a pit bull, what you call that, a pit bull, Rottweiler, or whatever it is, you go by the father as well. So that's your pedigree. So it's the same thing. After their families, by the house of their fathers again. Their fathers, the daddy is the one that determines if you're actually from a specific family and whatnot. So what you're coming from. Even science will prove it as well. And according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls, right? So now that we know how to recognize that we are children of the Most High, it's by your father, first of all, that you actually go to them curses. And third and foremost, because not all Israel is Israel, we'll touch that later on, but just to make it fast, the third point would be in what verse I'm searching, what verse I'm looking for. It's oh yeah, my bad. So it's Romans 8 and 16. So the third way to recognize that you are the children of God, because it could be from Israel, it could be your father, it could be an Israelite, you could have like them curses on you, but are we recognize that you are the children of God, like you're not a wicked Israelites and whatnot? It's 8 and 16. The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. So the Spirit itself is the words that is in the Bible. So like if the testimony that's in that book, once you hear it, if you actually can be a witness, the Spirit, the witness, the Bible, the words in the Bible is going to be a witness to your spirit that you are the children of God. If you actually don't acknowledge this word and you actually don't relate to it, well, my bad, but you're not one of the child of the Most High. And what is the Spirit? Real simple. You got to go to John 6 and 63, right? What is the Spirit, right? 6 and 63. What is the Spirit? It is the Spirit that quicken it. Like quicken it means that brings alive, that actually gives you life. The flesh profited nothing. So the Spirit is what makes you alive. The flesh, like living by the flesh, that profited nothing. It's not because you're waking up every day that you're walking, your heart is pumping and whatnot. That's not what gives you life. What gives you life is the Spirit itself that quicken it. The flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. The words that we speak, like the words that's in that book, that's the Spirit. So that's how you get life, by hearing the words and acknowledge these words and understand it. So that's the reason why, speaking of Spirit, we know who is the Word, right? Speaking of being the Word, just to drive the point home, so you understand how to read that book properly. Precepts upon precept, precepts upon precepts, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So that Spirit, which is the Word, who is the Word? Real easy, Yahushua is that Word. So the words are the spirits, and who's these words? Who's the spirits? Why it's loading like forever? There you go. 3:17. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. So the Lord, the Most High, Yahushua, is that Spirit in that book, and of course in the name of Yahushua, but his Father is the the Spirit itself, because his Father is the main one, is the Most High God, and through his only begotten Son, Yahushua. So that's it and done. That's how you actually recognize that you are the children of God. And the children of God, they do not sin. Not that we never sinned, but we do not sin. Once you're born again, you're not supposed to sin anyways, because like the Holy Spirit, once you have the Holy Spirit only go in people that actually will not sin, that will actually understand the word and will actually will follow the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High God, Yahweh. So with that said and done, we'll get back to Deuteronomy 28. Like I said at the beginning, the last video, 28 to 15 to 14, basically, that's all the blessings. And if you go at 15, then it says, but it shall come to pass, which is future prophecy, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So we actually went to only like 2 of them curses last time, and only these 2 curses only fit us. Like there's nobody else that fits. Like it's like no other nation in the world. So my bad, 16. Curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. So city in the field, real simple for that curse. So who was cursed in the city? Who was cursed in the field? So the tobacco field, who was cursed in this field, right? Speaking of field, you have to see this picture, man. Speaking of tobacco, the cotton field, we actually picked up so much cotton. I think it's about like $7 trillion in the US economy for the cotton that we picked up. We should never have to buy anything that's made out of cotton, basically. Because our forefathers they're the one that actually picked it all up, and we didn't get a penny for that. Our 40 acres and a mule, where is that at? Nowhere to be found. There's none of the thing that they said they would do, they actually did, which is the reason why they got to be punished. And speaking, actually, I got that precept that just came back right now, which is Exodus, which is one of the law. Here's what's going to happen to these people for what they did to us. In Exodus 21:16, and he that stealeth him in, because they stole us from the west coast of Africa and they never brought us back, and sell it in. So they sold us to actually the European right here. So the African stole us from Africa, sold us, and they're both guilty. So the one that stole and sold us and the one that bought us, they're all guilty. Or if he be found in his hand, so when the Most High God's going to come back, we're going to be in the hand of our enemy, which is here in America and all the other places like where it scattered us all over, that we actually serving slavery, because it's not just here in America. So technically, every single places, like I mentioned before, Jamaica, St. Vincent, Seychelles, Haiti, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Brazil, in Canada as well, because in Canada we know like the Samuel de Champlain, which is basically discovered once again, just like Christopher Columbus. We know they did discover Jack, but Samuel de Champlain in 1608, the same thing for the Iroquois, the Huron, the Algonquins, which is basically the natives that was in America here in Quebec when they came in the Saint Laurent, the river, which is like I believe that was Tadoussac, which is the first place that they met the first natives. And the same story that like we have here, like the natives American that are here in the United States, the same thing. We have some in China, in Britain, of course, in Spain. You have a lot of Mexican down there in Spain that was taken from basically Mexico, well, which was the land of the Aztec at first. Their name weren't Mexico, Mexica. And they got brought like all the way to Spain and Portugal the same way, but in the other way. They came from Africa, they came from Europe, they got them from here, and they brought them in Spain and Portugal. And us, they took us from west coast of Africa and they brought us here in all the different islands, and we've been scattered all over the place, like the prophecy saying. But the prophecy, one of the commandments and whatnot, Exodus 21:16, and he that stealeth a man, which they did, and selleth him, which they did, or if he be found in his hand, which they will be found the guilty of as well, because when the Most High comes back, they won't give us, let us go. We're still going to be in the land of captivity. He shall surely be put to death. So here's your sentence. Here's your judgment. They have to be put to death. All of them. No exception. It is what it is. That's all the cookie crumble, baby. So, cursed shall thou be in the city. Here's what I was looking for. Okay. Just to show you that they showed us no mercy. There you go. Look at this, man. You have to see that. See that? Look, I believe he's 4 years old, right? You have to see that picture, man. 4 years old, right? It's picking up cotton from sun up to sundown, around the clock, nonstop. All type of madness, man. All type of madness. There you go. All type of madness. So they got to pay for that. So that's us. And as you can see, just like I showed you the picture of like the yoke, because I told you that's basically what got me really get the understanding that book was our people was talking about us and only us, was the yoke of iron I showed you last time, which basically like we got brought here into in the boat and all that. But here you see it's only us. You see, that's the reason why these people, for being cocky and proud, they actually they gave us all the evidence that they're guilty of everything by being proud of showing us, like, like a nigger. You're gonna actually make pictures of them, mock them, and all these pictures that they put like about us and everything that they did. So now they can't get away from it because you have all the proof of what you did. And the only nations that fit those things, it's only us, because you only see people like us in these pictures. So that's where they go. The Most High God is a mastermind, man. It's like, he's amazing. There's no way to describe him. There's no way to describe the Most High. It's unbelievable. So here, and that's about it. You have plenty more. So you see all them pictures. That's us picking up cottons from sundown, like male, female, child. It is what it is. You see? Us and us and us. You don't see no other nation doing this. If like any other nation would fit this prophecy, why is it only us that you're seeing doing this? And of course, the slave master after that take the what you call that? Take spoil us, basically. Like they take everything that we actually collected and then they pay us nada for it. So then you have it. You see, 4 years old. Right? So we curse in the field. That's exactly what it means. Also, where are we curse also? We curse like on the football field, the basketball field, the soccer field, all these fields basically that we actually are the number one athletes. We're the one that makes the most money. Because of course, if there's no Michael Jordan, Stephen Curry, Magic Johnson, Vince Carter, Dominic Wilkins, Sean Kemp, if none of these guys are playing basketball, nobody would pay attention to basketball to watch a bunch of Larry Birds play ball. Get real. Everybody knows that. You go watch these games because of the top athletes, which is basically the children of Israel. Same thing for soccer. You go see like Maradona and all these guys like Pele, what's his name? Even this guy is, I forgot his name. Anyways, at the end of the day, you get the idea. Every single sport, we dominate these sports. Like without us, these sports, they don't have the south, because we're the south of the earth, right? So at the end of the day, this is a curse as well. We're on the field. We're the one that actually do the whole work, all the work, just like when we were in slavery, on the cotton field, on the sugarcane field, on the rice field, on the tobacco field, on the coffee field. All these fields we've been cursed because we actually the one that's been doing the work and we're getting less. We're doing the most and we ain't getting jack. So same thing for now. Like you see basketball field, we all have our athletes like performing, like actually making mad money, and none of them owns any of those football team, basketball team, and everybody that actually had a share in these teams, they either had like a small crumb or they killed them. Just like Michael Jackson, I believe he had like a part in the whatever like baseball team and whatnot. Now you have like Jay-Z who has a part in the Brooklyn the Nets basketball, but it's so minute. It's nothing. But we actually are the one that actually make the sales. Like everybody go and watch these games like on TV and directly like in the stadiums and whatnot, but we ain't get nothing for it. Why? Because it's a curse. We're the one that is cursed. We're the only one that goes through this. Like you don't see any Hindus like actually performing. You don't see any Chinese, any Japanese, and damn sure don't see none of those SOS. Matter of fact, what do these people know how to do? They don't know how to sing. You never see them and they actually have a hit song. They damn sure don't know how to dance, pardon my language. excuse my French, they don't know how to sing, they don't play sports, no basketball, they're nowhere to be found in any of these things, music and whatnot, but yet they control all these industries. They're the one that own all of them. So don't you see that's an oxymoron? That's something that just doesn't make any type of sense until you figure out that there's a curse and only a divine inspiration, a divine power can make that happen, which is exactly what we're going through. Because there's no way in the world that these people, they don't know how to do jack. When's the last time you had a hit song from like one of those SOS, those fake Jews? When is the last time you saw one of them like dunk a basketball? Play basketball, play any type of sport for that matter, or even dance. What these people know how to do? Nothing, nothing. They're actually the lowest, the basest of men. But that's what it is, right? Speaking of the basest of men, there you go. We're going to go, because the Most High can do whatever he wants, right? So Daniel 4. Daniel 4. And if we go in 17, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruled in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basest of men. That's exactly what's going on right now. That's the reason these people are the basest of men, and they're the one that's ruling the world. As simple as that. And it is what it is. The Most High God, whatever it is, nothing's impossible for the Most High. So we keep on going. So we've been cursed in the field. We've been cursed like forever up to this day. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. So basically, like a basket and thy store, that means we don't want to have anything that we can save. You know, like actually, if there's a famine coming in and whatnot, it's like our pockets got holes in it, our basket got holes in it. So we used to be like storing stuff, especially for the year of Jubilee, one of the basically of the holidays, like every seven jubilees, which is like 49 years, and every 7 years you're supposed to let the land rest, right? Which is one of the statute and the commandments that the Most High gave us. We're supposed to let the land rest and not work the land and whatnot. So we're supposed to actually have stash like more than we need for those 2 years, like the year that we actually in and the year of the Jubilee. So you're supposed to have to actually merchandise for at least minimum 2 years. So the Most High God used to give us this increase and whatnot. We should never have any problem with it when we listen, of course. But when we don't listen, curses our basket. So that's why we never have more than we need. We never have plenty of stuff. We never have things to actually put in a storage and have like enough for like 3, 4, 5 years, like most people do. We always actually have to live day by day. We have what we need for today, and we'll figure out what we have to get for tomorrow, because tomorrow's another day. So that's basically what it is. That's another curse that's been put on us. So we don't have any storage, anything extra. So you can't save money in the bank. You always actually use your last penny. Matter of fact, your last penny is not even enough. You always owe money. You actually have to get credit, be in debt. That's basically a curse also, right? Curse shall be thy basket and thy store. So who fits that? Actually, like, I'll let you do the math. Like, we'll go through all them curses and then you'll figure out who fit all these curses. Only one single nation. I actually mentioned it before. And curse shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. So real simple, the fruit of thy body. So the baby will come out cursed. Like actually we'll have the curses from, it's like everybody, it's a generational curse, right? That we call it. So from father to son to son to son to son to son. And it keeps on going and going. Same thing for the fruit of thy land. So anything that we do will not flourish. So no matter what we're trying to do, that's the reason why we can never get along together. No matter what we're trying to do, we always have issue. Things always like are falling apart. That's basically it, because that's part of the curses as well. And the increase of thy kind, so like us, like we growing up being cursed, and the flocks of thy sheep, so even your sheep's going to be cursed. Everything that you touch will be cursed. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. So from the cradle to the graves will be cursed. So when we get to this world, until we get buried 6 feet deep back to where we're coming from the dirt, and our spirit goes back to the Most High, will be cursed. So that's the reason why when we actually look at us, we've cursed from the get-go. We have this from the sun up, well, actually from the beginning all the way to the end. That's the curse as well. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand My bad. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for do. Until that was weird. My bad, guys. This one was weird. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do. So anything that we want to do, we'll actually have vexation, just like I was mentioning before. No matter what we actually want to do, anything that we have planned, whatever plan we got, we're still getting cursed. Nothing works because we've been cursed. We have vexations of spirit. We're being frustrated. Nothing works no matter what we do. So that's part of the curses as well. Until thou be destroyed. When it's saying destroyed, it means like mentally destroyed. It doesn't mean that we're going to be destroyed because we're still here. If the Most High wanted to destroy us, we would be like totally gone a long time ago. With everything that we've been through. So it just means that you're going to be destroyed mentally. So you actually will just give up. You'll just like actually be totally depressed and actually you won't even try to do it anymore. And until thou perish quickly, so you die fast because of the wickedness of thy doings. And why it happens, because some people always say like why the reason why the Most High is doing this to us, blah, blah, blah. Whoopty, whoopty, womp, womp. That's because we didn't listen. It's because of our wickedness. We're the one that brought that upon us. That's our fault and nobody else. Not the other nations, not the Most High. That's all it is. Whereby thou hast forsaken me. So actually we left the Most High on the side. We're like, the hell with this guy. Turn our back on the Most High. And that's what happened. And that was actually the curses even before we actually started being wicked, right? So that's all prophecy. So that's basically the word of Moses. Moses is actually telling us everything that will happen to us. So that's just to show you that the Most High knows everything, and everything he says will come to pass no matter what. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. So like actually the Most High God got us out of the land, and everything like that actually said he will do to us happened to us until we got kicked out. Like all the pestilence, like the sickness, the diseases, everything will actually be upon us until whatever prophecy been fulfilled, just like it's been doing from day one. And the Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with a sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. So basically, that's all the sickness that's going to send upon us, and we're going to send a sword upon us as well. Sword is basically vengeance. When the Most High is sending a sword, like of course you have a literal sword. What is a sword for? For war, right? And it's also for the vengeance of the Most High. So basically, when he says a sword, that means like all the punishment that's actually pronounced against us will pursue us wherever we go. We can't get away from it. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. This is real simple. That means like the sky and the earth will be dry. Like there will be like nothing. There will be no rain in this due season. There will be like nothing growing in the ground for us. Everything will be actually just like iron, which is and brass, which is basically just metals. That's going to be dry. Nothing. The sky. There will be no rain, no nothing. So that's basically it. And the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust, just like I was saying, from heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. So that means like you won't have your rain in due seasons. Nothing will be able to grow in your land. You'll actually be destroyed, like until you're totally destroyed. And that's the prophecy. The Lord, that's part of the prophecy. I mean, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdom of the earth. So that's the part where I was telling us that's going to actually scatter us all over. And we've been bitten. That's the reason why when you think of it, all these tiny little crackers came in the west coast of Africa. They subdued us. When you look at us, we're way stronger than them. We're way more powerful than them. We're way smarter than them. And we actually just take us away, like a whole tribe, the whole squad, without doing nothing, and then be on the boat, like at the bottom of the boat, and nobody revolted. That's because the Most High actually gave us, like actually sent a spirit on us in order for us to be subdued and be smitten like before thine enemies. Like if it's not with us, if it's with our enemies, like we're never going to be able to beat anybody. You can be like the tiniest person in the world. If the Most High decides for you to beat anybody, you will beat anybody. We can be as strong as we are as Black people. He made us to be the strongest, but still, If he decides to actually put us down, he can use anything that he wants to do it. And that's exactly what he did, right? That's why we've been smitten before that enemy. So that's why our enemies is whooping our ass. Everybody's beating us down, disrespecting us. We're still stronger than them. When you look at actually everybody on the basketball field and the football field, we're the best athletes. Everybody know we're actually made stronger than everybody else in the world. But still, we're the last, and everybody's abusing us, beating us down, shooting us in the street. Why? Because the Most High put a spirit into us to be weak, effeminate men. And that's what's up. It is what it is. And thy carcass shall be meat upon all fowls of the air and upon the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. So basically, when we die, we actually lie in the street like dogs. Nobody's actually like burying us. We don't have no type of respect whatsoever. So we're just food for the birds, man. That's what it is. And the Lord would smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scabs, and with the itch whereof that cannot be healed. So all type of diseases, same diseases that we have in Egypt as well, that the plagues and like our skins and like having eczema and all type of stuff that you have, scab for the woman. That's the reason why their hair doesn't grow. All type of curses. This is so real, man. For real, it's insane. So who fits all these curses that we've been through so far? And that's nothing. Now we get to number 28, right? So the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and the astonishment of heart. So smite us with madness, which means like we're going to go crazy. That's the reason we only see our people walking in the street, talking to themselves, like out of their minds, on drugs, like they're sleeping in the streets, like no homes, no type of hygiene whatsoever, because we're mad. We're totally mad. You smite us with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. So we're in astonishment. We're stunned. Like everybody's like, these people are like, they used to rule the world. For those who know who we are, they're like, it's an astonishment. Like from us to go from that high to that low of a society, of a human being, and the way we actually treat each other and whatnot, it's an astonishment of art. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper. So we actually will be groping at noonday at night, all day long. We'll be like watching our back and be like, never know what the next day is going to bring. Like we just have the food for today and barely know like how to make ends meet, what's going to happen tomorrow. Every day is going to be a struggle. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Oppressed and spoiled evermore. That's exactly what we're going through. We've been gunned down in the street, first fired, last hired. We have no job. Everybody's disrespecting us, call us niggas and whatnot, bar words, and we're the laughing stock, right? We're nothing to nobody. It's all prophesied, and that's exactly what's happening to us. Thou shalt betroth a wife, another man shall lie with her. In slavery, what was happening? The slave master used to take your wife, bring her home, rape her, whatever he has to do with her, and send her back to you. That's if she send her back to you. Or sometimes you'll have your wife taken away. She's been given into marriage like somebody else, like the slave master, or like she goes to another plantation or goes straight up in another country and whatnot. Who knows what they used to bring us. And that was supposed to be your wife, right? Somebody else will lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. So we build Americas, just to give you an example of America. We built it. We never dwelt in these houses. Actually, we can't even rent a decent place. You go to rent any other place, you know how hard it is for a black man to rent a place. And actually, might as well sleep in the streets if you want a place to rent, how hard and difficult it is. So that's basically all prophesied, and it's part of the curses as well. And we're the only one that fits all these curses. That's the whole point. Them SOS, the fake Jews, they don't fit none of that. They're rich as like there's no tomorrow. They actually own every single thing: the diamond district, the music industry, Hollywood, the housing industry, every single thing. And they even have the monopoly so far on religion. They're the only one that can't say nothing about them, because everything you say, it's anti-Shemitic. We'll get to that anti-Shemitic like in other videos and whatnot. That can be so far from the truth, because we are Shemitic. That's the whole point. We are from Shem. They're not even from Shem. That's actually another story. That's another can of whoop-ass. We'll stick to the Deuteronomy 28 for now. So somebody else will lie with your wife. Thou shalt build an house. We build America from the ground up, and we get like the projects. That's where we actually live at, like the worst places in any single city. So curse in the city shall thou be, curse in the field. So who do you find in the ghettos, in the worst neighborhood? That's us. And who actually lives in the suburbs, everything high-end in the penthouse and like in the buildings, like in the downtown, all the high-end areas, neighborhoods and whatnot, it's all the slave masters and whatnot. If you know, if one of them finally made it in one of these places, that's basically just like one house Negro and whatnot that actually kissing the ass of the white men, and that's the only way you can make it. If not, you made it like in the music industry and whatnot, but you had to sell your soul pretty much to actually be in these places. But they're still going to treat you as a nigger no matter what, right? So thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So the same thing, like actually the cotton field, the sugar cane field, tobacco field, or anything that we actually use to plant the vineyards for the vineyard, my bad, the vineyard, like thou shalt plant a vineyard, my bad, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. The vineyard, grapes, whatever we used to plant, like usually you reap what you sow. For us, that was the straight opposite. The slave master will take everything and will get nothing for it. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. So all our cattle will be destroyed. That's basically what happened to the native here, like in America, which is basically another, you can see that same prophecy in the Leviticus 26:22. So the buffaloes, I've probably heard of it. We'll touch it on other videos and whatnot. The buffaloes, they actually came here, like killed all their cattle and whatnot to actually starve them to death. That was part of their war tactics against the natives. And that's basically what it's saying right now. That's part of the curses that we have to go through. And all together, you have to understand that maybe like one tribe went through like some of the curses, and other tribe like through like other part of the curses. But as a whole, we've been through all these curses, and we actually always going to go through them curses again and again and again, as long as we're in captivity, and as long as we actually don't listen to the word of the Most High. And we're never going to be blessed. That's the reason I was telling you on the last video, we can only be first or last, one or the other. You can be the top or you can be the bottom. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and other men shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox, okay, that's what we're 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. So, like your cattle will be slain, you can't eat of it. Thine ass, which is the donkey, shall be violently taken away from there before thy face. The same thing, they took our cattle away and destroyed everything that we had, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. So that's what happened to the natives, and that's been happening to us over and over and over. They take and took everything that we got. The fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. That's exactly what's happening to us. The fruit of our labor, everything that we do, cotton field, sugarcane field, coffee field, rice field, whatever field, football field right now, they're the one that actually getting fat out of our work. We build anything, and we actually stay oppressed and crushed always. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. So that has to make you mad, of course, because that's what we are right now. We're mad as hell, but we can't do nothing about it. The Lord shall smite thee with the knees, mash up our knees. So that's why a lot of us always have knee problems. If you look at our mothers and whatnot, by playing the sports we're playing right now, we always have issue with our knees. That's also a curse in the Bible, believe it or not. And in the legs, with a sore butch that cannot be healed, and the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. So that's all the curses that we actually had to go through, the sickness, the diseases that the Most High put upon us. And the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Major prophecy right here, wood and stone. Not only is going to be a land that our fathers have not known, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. So we wouldn't know that nation. And there you shall serve gods, wood, and stone. What are the two major religions in the world? Wood, the crucifixion of the Most High. What is the representation of it? The cross. In the wood, basically, that's how we got actually crucified, which is like the Roman torture that's the way they used to kill people, a whole lot of us, including the Messiah, the Most High. and the stone, that famous Kaaba stone, which is Christianity and Islam. The stone, that's the Kaaba stone that they turn around 7 times when you actually do your pilgrimage in Mecca, that they do once a year. And to be a real Muslim, you have to do that at least once in your lifetime. It's just total madness. Basically, like they worship a stone and kiss that stone. So their God is a stone, and the God of the Christianity is basically that cross, which is basically what they use to crucify the Most High. And it's not the right depiction of the Most High on that cross. This is the white Jesus. This is not our God. So this is basically a prophecy that the Most High gave like thousands and thousands of years ago that we actually doing and serving right now. Because a whole lot of us are in what? Christianity and Islam, which is like actually other gods. It's actually, you can't be more clearer than that. And there shall thou serve other gods. So we're not serving our God. So it's their gods. So kiss a stone and the crucifix, right? How they crucified the Most High. So those are the two religions, Christianity and Islam. Also prophesied, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb. A proverb, it's a saying, right? Like to give you an example, like all black men likes chicken. Black men, they all look alike, which is like a straight up lie, you know. And you also have niggers, you know, like we have all type of words like a black American, black African American, black, a nigger, and we're gonna be a proverb and a byword. So that means that's basically people gonna call us anything except who we really are, which is like the children of Israel, which is like gods on earth. That's what we really are. So we're gonna be called anything but that. And there shall thou serve other gods, wood and stone. My bad, I missed the part here. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations where the Lord shall lead thee. So all over, everywhere that we have, if you actually like in the captivity in China, we're going to be actually worshiping Buddha. You're going to be actually worshiping like the god of the monks. If you're in India, you're going to be worshiping like Shiva, the goddess of destruction. You're going to be worshiping like the cross, the stones. Everywhere will be scattered. We'll be actually worshiping other gods, not our God, which is the most our God of Yasharala, which is Yahweh, which is the one and only God, right? And thou shalt carry much seed out in the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Right. So basically, everything that we'll do will be devoured by different type of beast. Locust, my bad. So the locust shall consume it. So the locust will consume it in the field. Like if you actually have your corn or anything that you're gonna actually make grow, like the Most High is gonna send his army, because the insect also, they also like the reptiles or whatever it is. It's also the army of the Most High. He controls it all, so you can make them destroy your cornfield, the crows, the locust in that case, and that's what it is. That's another curse as well. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grapes, nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Same thing again, like the one before. Thou shalt have olive trees. My bad. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast its fruit. So once again, the same thing like before, everything that we actually will have will not be able to either use it, gather it, or have anything out of it, because that's going to be either destroyed, or our enemy is going to take it all, and we're going to get none of it. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast its fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. So who's the only nation? Same thing when we were in the sugar cane field, when we were in captivity and slavery, when they brought us here. They used to take our kids from birth, have us, mate, like have us like actually take a woman, a man, make babies, and then they take a baby, make sure they actually take the strongest man, strongest woman to have strong babies, and then they will take that baby from the womb, right? As soon as you give you give birth to that baby, they take it and they bring it to Master Johnson, Master Jackson, Master Jones, to whatever other like states, whatever plantation, and you'll never see that son of yours or that daughter of yours. So the only nation that happened to, once again, it's us. Another curse that we have to go through again and again. Even nowadays, the same thing as well. We don't have money. We actually have a bunch of kids. We can't raise them. So the foster child, we the ones that actually leave our kids at home, single parents home, like only the mom is there. The dad's always gone. Then they just actually leave them to the society. They give them in foster home and whatnot, and they get raised by the system. So the exact same thing is happening now, the same thing that was happening back then. And thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall be locust consumed. So it's the same thing again. And the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Exactly what's happening to us right now. Even though like the Native Americans are the one that actually been in that land first, they're the one that actually at the lowest of the totem pole, and their enemies are at the top. So we can only last our first, like I mentioned before. So our enemies are in our land and are top of the society. And in our own land, we actually at the bottom of everything, every single thing. That's another curse as well. So the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. So everything that we got, that's the reason why we cannot make business and mix ourselves with these people. Because when we do, we're always going to end up being at the bottom because they just can't help it. That's the curse of the Most High. They've been created to be just that way. They are our nemesis, our straight opposite. We cannot, both of us can rule at the same time. It's either one or the other. And they're always going to actually try to put us down because they know we're the children of the Most High. We the one that has to wake up and figure it out by now, right? So he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So like I was saying before, who owns the bank? Who owns the credit card company? So they're the one that actually always lending money to us. We're always in debt. They're actually charging us like a bunch of high interest rate that we can't pay back. And we can never lend to these people. We don't have any bank. The Federal Reserve notes who it is for. All these people. That's another curse as well. So they actually the top, we're the tail. They're at the top, we're at the bottom. They can lend to us, we cannot lend to them. They have the money, we don't have anything. People on that money, that $100 bills, that $10 bills, whatever country you're at, it's the face of your oppressor. You don't have your face on that money. Your own people doesn't run jack shit. Excuse for my language. But it is what it is. That's how I have to express it, and that's what it is. Moreover, all these curses, we've been to that part already, so they actually will be upon us forever. And therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, which is the verse I told you that actually caught my attention, the yoke of iron. But we'll serve our enemy in everything. In hunger, so that means anything that we need to eat, we go to them. We don't have nothing. Even actually your own fruits, you can't even actually have your own garden to get your own potatoes, your own tomatoes, your own bananas, just like you have in like anybody else. Like everybody has like actually like their own cattle, their sheeps, their, and all your own animals that we used to have in the farm and whatnot, and grow our own fruits and on our own land. We don't have any of that. So we have to go to them in anything that we want, like actually a restaurant. If you actually want to open a business, you have to take your food from them. Everything that you need, you have to take it from them. And in thirst, water bottles, like actually they even sell water. Like, yeah, there's a law in the United States where you actually cannot even collect the rain. If you actually find collecting water, the rain itself, like she can get there's a law against it that you're going to either get jail time or tickets or some of that nature, but you can't even collect the water from the sky that is free, that is from the Most High. That's how bad it is. So even in thirst, you have to go get your water from them. And in nakedness, your clothes, like I said before, like all the cotton that we actually picked up, we should be able to buy anything made out of cotton for free forever. Right, but you have to go to them to buy it. Even if you actually have like like a clothing line like Puff Daddy or Jordan and whatnot, they don't own the textile, they don't own the fabrics and whatnot. They have to go to these people to get their pants or whatever, their t-shirts and whatnot. They just have their name on the shirt, or they just make it, but they have to get the prime material from these people. So even our clothes and everything that we got, we have to go to them. And in want of all things, everything that we want, we have to go to these people. You go to school, you go to their system, their academy, whatever they've been teaching us, which is all lie, the same thing. You go to even religion, you have to go to their church, actually, where they feed us that night. They've been feeding us for years and years and years. Same thing from Islam. There's no difference between one and the other. Christianity, it's white supremacy, and Islam, it's Arab supremacy. We don't have none to do in none of that. One kiss rocks and one have a cross with a white Jesus that is a faggot. Why would you want to be in any of that anyways? But it is what it is. That was the curses. We have to go through it, right? So in thirst and in nakedness and in all things, everything that we need, like a birth certificate, the wedding certificate, you have to actually get your driver's license. Everything you have to ask, you have to get permission, or you have to have some type of paper from these people in order for you to be able to do it. So that's part of the curses as well. And of course, the classic, the yoke of iron that we've actually been through the last video. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. This is basically, like I was saying before, the Most High write things in codes. So you see, the reason why he used the eagle right here, of course, the eagle is an animal that flies, right? But the nation that will send against us from the end of the earth, when they came either from here to the end of the earth and took us from the west coast of Africa, or they came from the Spain, Christopher Columbus, which is the end of the earth, and then came to America here for the Northern Kingdom. One way or the other is the exact same prophecy, but at the end of the day, they're going to be swift as an eagle. The eagle, what nation that used the eagle as their actually emblem, that has actually the eagle on their flag and actually represent itself as the eagle? Nowadays, the American, but you have the Romans, you have the Spanish, the Spaniard, you also have the Russian, the German, and all of them, they all use the eagle. So that's exactly a prophecy. That's the Most High actually telling us, like, who's going to be that nation that's going to come and subdue us and put us in slavery. So that was the nation that the Most High sent from the end of the earth. A nation on top of that, the rest of the prophecy, whose tongue, not bad, guys, whose tongue thou shalt not understand. We used to speak Hebrew. If you actually read the journal of that Christopher Columbus, and you'll see that actually he brought an Hebrew translator because he knew there was Hebrews in America. And if you dig deeper, like if you actually, there's a movie, I can't recall the name right here. Actually, I'll find it for you guys. There's a movie where Christopher Columbus tells you straight up the reason why he knew there was people here and there was a land of America is because of the book of Second Esdras. Second Esdras 1340 specifically, which is a prophecy in the Bible that actually tell exactly that the Northern Kingdom will be in that new land where no man has dwelt before. And Christopher Columbus, you see, our enemies even study us to the T with our own book. Our own book, since it's prophesied, the Most High is not a liar. Everything that actually you have in that book is absolutely right and exact. And that's how Christopher Columbus, that they had people here, not only that they had people, and he had to bring a Hebrew translator because he knew like he would speak Hebrew. So the language that these people speak, we did not speak their language. We actually learned to speak English, French, even Creole in Haiti, which means like slave language. So that's basically it. That's a prophecy right here. And you should not understand their language, and we didn't understand English, Spanish, or whatever language they were speaking actually when they came to conquer us. And a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Like I was saying before, you can be a old, an elder, young as 4 years old on the cotton field. They won't show favor to anybody, kill anything that they want. Christopher Columbus, like I said, the Taínos, which is like also Israelites from the Northern Kingdom, when they came in their lands, they were, let's say, 100% of the population was there. There's only 3% left. He didn't put his sword down. In his journal, he said like he never put his sword down like a second when he came here. He just kill, 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 kill. Same thing like in slavery when he had to go collect gold and whatnot. If he didn't collect enough, they would cut our hands. It's been a massacre. It's been a total disaster, a whole catastrophe. And that's been prophesied from way, way, way back, right from the beginning, even before we actually went off. And that was the promise of the Most High. And we had the blessing as well in the time of King David. And every time we would do good, the blessing, we had all of them. But the curses, that's what we're going through right now. So in order to get out of it, we have to figure out the reason why it happened to us and do the exact straight opposite. So instead of not listening to the commandments, we have to listen to the commandments. But in order to know what to listen to, we have to know the commandment. And that's why we have to get the teaching, to get back to our understanding. First of all, to know that we are the people of that book and what we need to do in order to get back on top and get out of here, man. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle. And so once again, when they came here, the buffaloes and whatnot, like they ate everything that we had. Eat the fruit of that cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee, either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks, or thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. So they're going to take everything, which is basically what these people do. Thinking of that, most thieves, they come, they take like almost what they need, and then they leave. But these people, if you go Obadiah, the book of Obadiah, that's a book that actually they hate, that describes them to the T, right? There you go, right? Obadiah 1 and 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? So if a thief comes to your place, they're going to take whatever they need and then just leave the rest. If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? So if somebody come to take grapes, like they will leave some will drop on the floor and they'll still have some left after they leave. Are the things of Esau. Once again, Esau, like I was saying before, we'll go through it on another lesson. This is like the Europeans, descendant of Esau, which is like the reincarnation of Cain also. So regenerations also in the Bible. We'll go through this in other classes as well. Are the things of Esau searched out? Are is hidden things sought out? So when he goes somewhere, he's going to steal everything to the bone until there's nothing left. And that's what these people do. They take every single thing, no matter where they go. That's the reason they're the only nation that has an embassy like everywhere in the world. That's why they're trying to push their democracy. When they're not happy with a country, when they're trying to actually push their democracy, they destabilize your government. They do like inside jobs and all type of stuff to make sure like your government has been kicked out. And then they pretend that they'll come help you out to put their democracy, their fake democracy, but to technically rule that nation and make sure they destroy you just like they do for any other nation in the world. So only one nation fits that description, and it's Esau. And you know Esau today is anybody that is from European descent. The SOS and all these people like Polish, Poland, Russia, Germany, France, Spain, Great Britain, all of them, right? And you shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, leave you nothing, basically. It's 52. And it shall besiege thee in all thy gates. That's also happened to us in 70 AD. That was also prophesied as well, which is like sometimes prophecies, we call that a dual prophecy. So the same thing will happen again and again, and you can see it happening like multiple times, not only twice, but multiple times throughout our history, including like besiege us. We've been besieged like 70 AD and west coast of Africa, and every time they actually got us like in slavery and whatnot, like the Assyrian when they took the northern kingdom, the Babylonian, we besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trusted throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. So that's most likely, like I was saying, in Jerusalem, like in the land, because everywhere the God like actually gave us, when we actually getting cursed, our enemies will come, bring our walls down, our defense down, we'll be actually defenseless and be able to do nothing against them. Because the Most High God is the one that is sent them to us. Not because they're smart or they're stronger, because the Lord thy God made this happen, right? And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body. So we'll become like actually cannibals and whatnot. We are eat our own kids, our own sons, our own daughters, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So like in all the madness, like we're going to eat our own son, our own daughters, you're going to become cannibals, man. So that the man that is tender among you, that's like actually a prophecy that's happening again and again to us, starting at 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his high shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of thy bosom, of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So check this out. So the man that is tender among you, so tender among you means back then we used to be like, all everybody's all the brotherhood used to be strong, right? So we used to care for each other. How's your mom's doing? How's your family's doing? You need any sugar? You need anything? There's anything missing at home? You guys are good. So we used to take care of each other, right? And very delicate, right? His high shall be evil toward his brother. So that's like flip mode. So the love that we used to have for each other, now it turns into evil against our brothers. So who's the only nation that actually goes by, where that nigga from? What he's looking at. He step on my shoes, gang bang, and all of these stuff. Like, who's the only nation that is known for doing this? You don't see no white people actually walking some other white people neighborhood and actually have to watch his back, and every other white people are waiting for him and like, where you coming from, son? What's going on? Where you at? You know where you from? You know where we at here? Represent, throw up your set and all that stuff, that gang bang and everything. So that's exactly what's going on. So like, we're the only nation that actually have that type of hate, like, doing rap song or music videos, like we're whoring out our sisters. We're just hating ourselves. We hate each other, right? We gang bang, so that's why we kill each other. So there's no such thing at, like, they do crime against each other, but it's not a saying, like I was saying before, like we're going to be a proverbs and a bywords. So that's the reason, that's another proverbs and byword that we go by. Black on black crimes. Why we call it black on black crimes? Because we keep killing each other. That's the only saying. You don't really hear white on white crimes, Indian on Indian crimes, Chinese on Chinese crimes, Japanese on Japanese crimes. But the black on black crimes, when I say black, I mean black and brown, even though we're not black, but I'm just using the bywords that we're being called by. But we Israelites, right? We're not black. We're not the color of my sleeve right here. We're actually not a color. You cannot actually call yourself a color. That's not who you are. You can describe something as a color, but you cannot call yourself a color. You actually have a nationality, and basically you're discovering it right now. All praise to the Most High if we actually just get to this truth and get the understanding of it. But you are an Israelite if you fit all these curses and everything we've been through since the beginning, right? So we used to actually be delicate. We used to actually care for each other, and now evil toward his brother. So black on black crime, gang bang, and all that. And toward the wife of his bosom, domestic violence. We actually violent to our woman. We don't take care of our wife, and actually we're prostituting our girl, and we're not supposed to do that. That's the commandment as well. We'd get through. Well, actually, let's get to it right now. Give you an example fast. Deuteronomy 23 and 17. Deuteronomy 23 and 17, right? There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. So no strip club, no pole, no having sex for money, no pimping out our sisters, our daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. And so you cannot be a faggot. We are a very masculine nation. The Most High actually built warriors, kings, and priests. We don't want no faggots, and we can't whore out our sisters, which is basically the only thing we do. One thing that is special nowadays on TV, back then we used to have all these gangbang and these rap songs and all that in movies. That's basically the only thing that we used to see, proverbs and bywords, right? Now when I watch TV now lately, which I don't watch anymore really, but whenever I find a movie and I actually let it play on TV and whatnot, our sisters are always naked. Like they actually have no idea what clothes are about. Like they never heard about clothes, about actually putting something on themselves. They're only there to show their ass. There's only sex. There's only homosexuality. Only us killing each other, drugs, and that's all. It's like that's the only thing we know. Like actually, we actually brought down to such a low level. It's not even funny. And that's these people that actually been put on TV as an example of who we are as a nation. This is total madness, but that's what it is. That's part of the curses. Pouring out our sisters, that's all they do. And the strip club and, make it rain. They don't need a man and all that madness. This is basically part of it as well. And, right? So, there you go. Evil towards his brother and toward his wife. So we'll not take care of our wife like we used to do, the wife of his bosom. Domestic violence, whoring out our sisters, have no respect for them, self-hate and all that stuff, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall live. What is the black man known for? right? Live in his family. So that's why we have a bunch of single household, like with only the mom that's running the house, which is not supposed to be. So that's the reason why we're unbalanced. Speaking of being unbalanced, Proverbs 11 and 1. Proverbs 11 and 1. That's Proverbs. Proverbs. So it'd be in that one. No, where did you put Proverbs? Oh, yeah, that's true. Right here. My bad. Proverbs 11 and 1. Right? However, a false balance is an abomination. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So a false balance, so our family is unbalanced right now. So you don't have the masculine energy that we used to have. So that's the reason why the women are raising the kids at home alone. And most of the men, they become faggots. They don't know how to be a man anymore. They left on their own. They let the system raise them, TV raising them. So that's the reason why we're getting destroyed, because there's no balance. You have to have both the mom and the father at home. So the black man is known for that, for living home, and the mom is the one running the house, which is like the reason why the family is so destroyed. There's no guidance, there's no male authority, because the male, that's what it is for. It's for the authority and to guide the family in the right direction. That's the actually and all this has been taken away from us, and that's all part of the plan of society. That's what happened basically in the more or less 60s and the 70s. The only way like the government would assist any woman in the family is when they actually would kick the men out. So the women, they went crazy, part of the curses as well. They listened to their pride, their own ego and whatnot, and they got the men out of the house. So that's what happened now. So everything is totally destroyed. They have no guidance, and the kids are raised in total darkness. So that's part of the curses as well. And so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat. Well, that's part of the time when they actually were in captivity and whatnot. We would eat our own children on some cannibal thing, cannibal stuff, like total madness, because he had nothing left him in the siege. And in the straightness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman, like I was mentioning before, this part is for our woman. That's how our woman used to be back then, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Our women were treated so just like, like nothing on this earth. They wouldn't even put their foot on the floor, right? So they would have people carrying them around. So that's how precious our women used to be treated. They're still the same, right? But it's just that they don't have that same standard anymore. Now they all naked everywhere, like they never heard about putting clothes on them, and they actually have no shame. It's madness to the highest degree. And these same women that are still the princess of Zion, they would not even put their feet on the ground. That's the way we used to teach them. That's the way we used to treat them, my man. Her high shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom. So now those same women became evil against their husband, which is exactly what I was mentioning before. They actually want their men out. I'm an independent woman. Like, where's the independent Chinese woman? Where's the independent Japanese woman? Where's the independent American? Every single woman of every nation knows they need their men at home. They all know about family structure, but the black woman is the only one that actually want to push this agenda. They use this like star on TV, like Beyonce and whatnot, independent lady, but meanwhile, they have their husband at home. Those same women that are pushing this ideology and trying to push that only in the black community, though, right? So we have to stop that madness. You have to get back to what's right. Everybody's laughing at you. When you're like, what does that mean? You're a strong black woman. That means you do the job twice. Them other women, they're actually laughing at you. Because they have their husband making all the money in the world because they have the best job in the world. So they never actually lack anything. And they can stay at home. They don't even need to work if they don't need to. They stay at home, raise their kids. They have everything that they need. But the black woman, only she's alone. She's mistreated. She never have enough money. Nobody in society respect her, and she has the lowest paid job just for the government to take care of her. And the only way they do that is when they kick their husband home. They kick their husband from home, so the husband has to be out of home. They have to be destroyed. Like that's how they've been destroying us from the inside out, and they're using the woman to do it. You have to wake up. You have to figure out that it's a war against us, and this will stop until we figure out that's basically a curse, and the only way to get out of it is by getting back to the law, statute, and commandments, right? So same thing for a woman that used to actually be the princess, not touch anything. That's all the precious she was, and the same thing for her. And 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to sell the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, same thing again, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. So the way she's going to raise her child, she's going to hate her thing. And the black woman is known for that. You just hate your kids. That's the reason why the abortion clinic, you keep killing them. By the way, for any woman that think it's a okay thing to do, abortion, what the society trying to push on you, it's murder as of God, because you're killing a son and a daughter. The Most High put it in your belly. You just have to close your leg. You have to be responsible for your own action. So by the law of the Most High, when you're aborting, you're having an abortion, you're actually murdering a child. So you're actually accountable for it. So you're technically part of the commandments. You are a murderer by the standard of the Most High. Right? So she's going to be evil towards the husband of her bosom, toward everybody. So basically evil, everybody's going to have an evil eye against everybody, the husband against the wife against the husband, and against the son, the daughter, and whatnot. And toward the young one that come out from between her feet, so like her newborn baby, she's going to hate it, just like I was mentioning before. Like she's going to either abort it, she's going to eat it, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for one of all things, secretly in the siege and strictness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Same thing as the husband. If thou will not observe to do all the words of this law, so we have to do all of it, not pick and choose like the society is actually claiming to do, especially the Christian. They tell you they're Christian, but they don't follow the commandments. Like this one they like, this one they don't like, this one they do, this one they don't do. That's not how it works. First of all, it's not for you. The Most High never told us to be Christian. And second of all, you have to do the whole thing, right? If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayst fear his glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, which is Yahweh in the Palioim, the Tetragrammaton. Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. So basically everything, the plagues that we're going to get, everything's going to be painful, it's going to last forever if you don't listen. Moreover, it will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. So everything that we had in Egypt, the plagues and whatnot, everything that he did, the boils that they actually punished the Egyptians with, that we actually didn't get punished at that time. We actually make a difference between the Israel and the Egyptian. We're going to go to that verse just to actually show you that we're not the same as well. Exodus 11 and 7. But against any of the children of Israel, which is us, shall not a dog. By the way, the Most High calls people dog. So just to show you all, that's not from us, or that we're not the one that invented that term. The Most High is the one that's calling the other nation dogs. They call them dogs. You're a puppy. You're a dog. Move his tongue. Well, no dog, nobody shall move his tongue against men or beasts. Not even the beast of Israel you should move your tongue against. That you may know that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So there's a difference, like I was saying, between Dikembe Mutombo and Michael Jordan. There's a difference between Israel and the Egyptians. We both look alike, but two different people. We're the children of God, and they're dogs. That's what it is. Get mad if you want. I didn't write that book. I didn't say it. The Most High said it. Take it up with him. You guys are dogs. Dogs. Right? So everything that actually we didn't get in Egypt that we were afraid of, it actually will punish us with it. So also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, so things that we actually never heard of, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed, right? So now they actually is punishing the other nation with other plagues as well, like, COVID, C-19, let's use the words, and they'll actually ban the channel or strike me and whatnot because they want to hide everything. So all these diseases we had, like within like the last AIDS, that's another one as well. And I'm looking for a specific one. The that bubonic plagues, I believe that's the name of it. I can't recall the name. Bubonic plague, as all type of plagues that we had lately. All those were not written in the book of this law. The Most High will bring them upon us, and that's basically exactly what you see every day, all day. Biological war and all these stuff that's going on in the world right now. And you shall be left few in number. So wherever we go, we actually like the minority, right? Because we're scattered. We're actually the majority in the world, but since we're split in every single country, everywhere we go with the minority. So by being split, we actually always few in numbers where we're in captivity, right? And shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. So our numbers will actually reduce and be minimized as well, because a whole lot of us will be dying because we didn't listen. And it shall come to pass, or prophecy once again, that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good, and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you. The same way actually he was happy to actually do good to us, the same way he's going to be happy to do bad to us as well, and to bring you to nothing, so bring us to nothing. And you shall be plucked from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. All right. So one thing as well to show that the people in the land right now are not the real people of Israel is because that prophecy. So basically by doing like by the part of the curses, we shall be plucked from off the land. So we're not supposed to be in the land when we sin. And these people, they have the biggest gay parade, and they actually do all type of madness in the land, and the land is not kicking them out. And that's how you can tell as well they're not the real Jews of the Bible. Well, they're not Jews at all. That's point blank, period. They might actually have been converts to that culture of ours, like actually following our law, statute, and commandments, which they don't as well. But you cannot actually become a Jew. You cannot actually change your nationality. If you're Chinese, you're always going to be Chinese. You cannot become Japanese all of a sudden, even if you follow their God. You cannot be a Japanese and become an Indian just because you start following the God of the Indian, which is Shiva or whatever it is. That just doesn't make any sense, right? So, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all the people. That's part of the curses as well. That's why we're all over, from the one end to the earth, even unto the other end, all over the place, from east, west, north, south. And there shalt thou serve other gods, basically, we serving any other gods, including that stone and that cross, the two major ones, Christianity, which is number one, and Islam, number two. Those are all dumb religions, man. It's all like basically the enemies, like the enemy's religion. It's okay for them to actually worship these things because it's theirs. The Most High gave it to them to worship, right? But us, we're not supposed to, because the Most High divided all the gods of the world. If we go in Deuteronomy 4:19, the Most High gave it to them, so they're supposed to worship these gods, not us, right? 4:19, you go right, and let's thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, all these things actually like that they worship and whatnot, like zodiac signs and all these things, this madness. Even all the host of heaven, some of them they worship the sun, even actually before having like the Islam, like the Arabs, they used to worship the moon, like the moon that was a goddess for them. Her name was Sin, and all type of other like deities. Like they actually were worshiping all type of gods. They had a god for every single day, 365 gods, right? So every day they would kill each other for each other's gods. Like when they didn't agree with the god of the other one, they had a god for every day of the week, Monday, Tuesday. Well, that wasn't the name of the days of the week back then, but you get what I'm saying. So they had a god for every single thing. But that's what the Most High gave them, including the Kaaba stone, right? We're not supposed to worship those. Those are for the pagans. We are not. We have the real God, the living God, the Most High God, Yahweh, the creator of everything, the one and only. So that's how stupid we are as people. We're the only one that has the real God, and we're in everybody else's business trying to worship every other God. Just doesn't make any sense, right? So, and let's thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldst be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. So the Most High God is the one that gave it to them, right? But the Lord had taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be upon him a people of inheritance, as ye are these days. As ye are this day. So we are the inheritance of the Most High. We are his portion. right? So we have the same thing as well if we go back to Leviticus. Yeah, this one doesn't have Leviticus. Same thing, precept upon precept, at least two witnesses telling you the same thing. There's way more than that, but just to quickly go to another one. 17:17, right? For the divisions of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people, but Israel is the Lord's portion, just like I was mentioning before. Everybody set a ruler, he gave them a God to actually rule over them, but Israel, your God is Yahweh. You have to get back to your God, and that's the reason we keep getting punished over and over again, right? So, and among this nation, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So Christianity and that Kaaba stone, kissing a rock. Your God is not a rock. Live that to the Arabs, right? And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. You can't rest. You actually been going back and forth, working sun up to sundown. It never ends, man. That's the reason we actually keep going and going and going and never actually be able to build anything, because that's part of the curses as well. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Trembling heart, so we never know when we're actually going to get gunned down. We actually have no security for our life. From waking up to actually just having the cops pulling us over, that might be it, right? So like every time like you have actually been pulled over by a cop, your heart starts racing, and as you can see also, like every 28 hours, I believe there's a black man unharmed that's been gunned down by the cops, right? Every 28 hours. So almost like once every day, which is just like nonsense. This is madness, and we can't do nothing about it, right? And that's about it. So we'll fear for our life day and night. So trembling of heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. So whether it actually if you're in a gang, whether the cops pull you over, wherever you go, man, every single noise, everything you do, you're always that fear that your life been taken away. You go clubbing, you go here and there, your life can be taken away like at any point of time, no security whatsoever. So that's basically how we live, right? In the morning, thou shalt say, "Would God it were evening." So the morning, you wish that the evening would be there, and in the evening, you wish the morning would be there. And at even, thou shalt say, "Would God it were morning." For the fear of thine heart, wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. So everything that we see happening to us, every time we're being gunned down, ends up, don't shoot. What's his name? Zimmerman, that guy that shoot what's his guy name again? Anyways, there's George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Emmett Till. We have Rodney Jones. We have Pac got beat down. You know, when we see where he showed the picture of him, like the cops, what they did to him, and there's so many examples. So everything that we see, that actually people like us that always been attacked, that these things always happen to, right? And I'm looking for one specific, the guy that Zimmerman killed. You guys know the name, you know, and I have to find it. It's bugging me out. There you go. Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin. That's what's up. Trayvon Martin and so many other examples. That's exactly what the prophecy is about. So all these things, our eyes are seeing these things, so we have no assurance for our life, and we should be in fear all the time, right? And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, the last one, which is like the one of the major prophecy, without a shadow of a doubt. There's only one nation that fits all these prophecies, because we actually fit all of them. We're the only one that everything that we see here happened to. Nobody else. And like I was saying even before, their pride got them guilty. Like when the Most High will come back, we have all the proof of their guilt. First of all the pictures to mock us and whatnot on the cotton field, the chain on our neck, the yoke of iron, and everything they've been doing to us. They've been pride to actually show it and take pictures and actually post it all over the place so people can mock us. So all these things will be used against them as evidence when it's all said and done, when judgment comes for them. Man, I don't want to be you. I really don't want to be. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So basically, that was the breakdown, Deuteronomy 28, just to show you without a shadow of a doubt that everything that happened, all these curses, is basically what we're going through right now. The reason why we're going through it right now is because we're being punished. You can't tell. And one of the things that is different from the slavery, and no other nation can claim that actually they are the children of Israel as well. It's real simple. You can go on Jeremiah 17:4, right? Jeremiah 17:4. One thing specific about that last slavery, which is the reason why we know this is the last one. 17:4, Jeremiah 17. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage. So we will discontinue from our heritage. What is our heritage? Precept upon precept, right? Our heritage is, we can go to Sirach. It's there. Okay, this one has it. Okay. It's all the way to the bottom. I actually noticed. So Sirach, number 24. What is our heritage, right? What we discontinued from? Sirach 24:23, right? All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High, God, even the law which Moses commended for an heritage unto the congregations of Jacob. So the law of the Most High is our heritage. So when we discontinue from our heritage, that's what we would discontinue from. We would discontinue from the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. So that's part of the curses. That's one something specific about the last captivity. We would forget who we were. So we won't have the law, statute, and commandments. So that was a punishment that was prophesied way back. And one thing though is that when there's no law, that's basically something the Most High punished us with. So at the end of the day, the punishment, we can't get around it. We had to go through everything we've been through so far. But it's not counted as a sin to us because that's something we have to go through. But when we actually wake up to that reality, we get back to our senses, that's when we will have to get back to the Most High, or the punishment is going to be way worse after that. So a couple of precepts for that. So that's our punishment for the last one, like I said. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So that's last captivity. We would forget who we were. We will actually not have our law. But one thing, when we don't have our law, right? So one more thing, I will go another precept for that one, right? So we go Baruch. I just had it a few seconds ago. This one has it, this one doesn't have it. That's weird. All right, so Baruch 2:30. Right? So one thing that is prophesied as well is that, for I knew that they would not hear me, the Most High, all-knowing, also omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. So he knew that we would not hear him because it is a stiff-necked people. Once again, we are very stiff-necked, hard-headed. But in the land of their captivity, so once again with the prophecy of Jeremiah 17:4, so we would forget, we would lose our heritage. In the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. So what other nation that is in the land of their captivity and who's remembering themselves? Like, when did that happen? None of the other nations lost their heritage. They all know where they're coming from. Some of them, they can actually get back to their great-great-great-grandfather like 1,000, 2,000 years ago. We're the only one that can, and we're the only one that's actually remembering who we were right now. That's the reason why when the mathing, all these other people claiming to be us, it doesn't match, because you actually have to not only lose your heritage, you have to forget who we were, and when you actually get back to it, you have to start remembering who we are, and that's exactly what's going on with us right now. So where do those people fit this prophecy? They don't. They just don't. They fit none of it. They fit none of that book, because it's not their book. It's our book. Simple as that, right? And there's one thing also that I would like to mention. So we're going to go in Second Chronicles, Second Chronicles, Second Chronicles, Second Chronicles, Second Chronicles, 15 and 3, right? 15 and 3. Now, for a long season, Israel had been without the true God, and without a teaching priest, and without law. So that's exactly what we've been through right now. We actually been separated from God, which is part of the punishment as well, and without a teaching priest and without law. So we're not, like, the law wasn't there, so that was part of the punishment. So everything that we've been through, we're somehow sinning, but those sins that we've been committing throughout that slavery, that was a punishment. We couldn't get, actually, there's no way around it. These prophecies had to be fulfilled, right? So at the end of the day, just to bring the point home, Act, since we didn't have the law and we were punished, basically, and part of the curses, Act 17, the only difference with that one only, when we know who we are, there's no excuses. Like, we know we're not supposed to do sins. Like back in the other slavery, we knew who we were, so we just had to pray to the Most High. And actually, after he hears our cry, he would bring us back. That's what we've been going through with the Most High. It's a love story. With Daddy's been taking care of his kid like forever, and we've been like really like a bunch of nutcase. We actually troublesome. We've been out of our mind for so long. So with Act 17, right? So we've been a long time without the law. So 17 and 30. And the times of his ignorance. So ignorance means not know. When we did not know, when we were in that captivity, the last one, since we forgot who we were, since we didn't know and we didn't have the law and whatnot for a long time, and no priest, nobody to teach us. In the time of this ignorance, God winked at. So basically, the Most High just winked at us. But now commanded all men everywhere to repent. So now that we know, now we have to repent. Now actually that will be counted as a sin. And that's basically exactly what it says right here. If you give me 1 second. So it's Romans 4, verse 2 though. Romans 4:15, the first one. Because the law worked wrath, for where no law, there is no transgression. So since we didn't know about the law, we didn't really transgress anything, because the law wasn't there. Even if the law exists, when we're in punishment, or every time there's no law, there's no transgression. So in order to transgress, what is sin? We'll go at it, just for you to give you the proper definition of sin that they don't even teach you in church and whatnot. Sin, 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committed sin transgressed the law. Whosoever committed sin, transgressed also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. So when you do a sin, you transgress the law. But that's the reason why, since we actually were out of law, we forgot who we were, it's not really counted as a sin. But as soon as we get to know, to remember who we were, now everything that we do that's contrary to the law of the Most High, that would be a sin. And that's exactly what we got punished for. And that's what's up. So those sin, right? Go back to Romans 5, Romans 5 and 15, right? But none as the offense, so also as is it 15? Yes, for 13, my bad. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. So while you were in captivity, didn't really count it as a sin, but we were still transgressing the law. The reason why we didn't count it as a sin is because we forgot who we were, and there was no law. There was nobody to teach us, because that was part of the punishment. But now, when we actually get back on track, and all the other captivity, they knew that actually they were sinning. So that's the only difference with that captivity, because of the prophecy of Jeremiah 17 and 4, which was also prophesied in Deuteronomy 32:26, right? So what other nation does that fit? Only us, because you have to be a nation and remembering who you are in the land of your captivity. So you have to be captive as well. You have to have forgot who you were, and you have to start remembering who you are. So just these prophecies alone, so there's no other nations once again that fit the bill. We're the only one. So Deuteronomy 32:26, I said I would scatter them into corners all over the world and would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. So that was like a prophecy from the Most High. So this is just basically a punishment. When you go through the punishment, whatever the Most High said would happen, it would happen. So there's nothing we could do about it. But now once you figure out who we are, that's when we have to wake up and do what has been told to us since the beginning in order to get back to our proper state, what we've been created for, and it's basically rule this world. Stay safe, Israel. The Most High God loves you and wants you to come back. Akyam, all my Akyam and Alkiat, one love to you guys. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. Stay safe, guys. Don't believe the hype. Keep the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. And see you guys in the next video. And once again, if you have any questions, any breakdown and whatnot, just holler at me. You guys know the email. It's kingdomsofkings144@gmail.com. Have yourself a good one. Stop sinning. And see you guys in the next video. All right, guys. Be safe.